Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and I just wanted to kind of address a pet peeve of mine, and this is the term trickle-down economics. There's no such thing as trickle-down economics. The term trickle-down economics actually started out as a pejorative, actually similar to the word capitalism. The word capitalism was never a word to describe anything. It was actually a pejorative term, I think coined by Karl Marx. But people have used these terms to describe a system that they imagined, not the system that is. And the same thing with trickle-down economics, they've used this as a pejorative term, meaning a negative term, a insult towards sort of a free market perspective by strawmanning the argument for free markets differently. Now, specifically, it was used against the arguments of supply-side economists, which, while I tend to subscribe to more Austrian economic views, let's just talk about sort of the difference. So when people say trickle-down economics, you're saying, well, those supply-siders believe that if you give tax cuts to rich folk, that they'll spend more and that'll grow the economy. That is not what they believe. The supply-side argument isn't that if you give tax cuts to rich people, that they'll spend more. The argument is that if you tax people less, there'll be more capital formation. What does that mean? Well, when it comes to your paycheck, there's money that you save and there's money that you spend. And it's the money that gets saved that is available for investment. Okay, for me to invest $20 by buying a stock or a bond, I have to choose not to spend it. So all investment comes from savings. Somebody somewhere chose not to use money they have now to enjoy things now, whether by buying a burger or buying a sweater, in order to make an investment. So if a small business borrows $100,000, there's somebody out there who chose not to use that $100,000. But if you tax me more, my full income is less. So basically, generally, the amount I'm going to spend is the amount I'm going to spend. Okay, I got to pay for my housing, I got to pay for food, I got to pay for living. Okay, and maybe a little bit of fun. But the amount I save is generally sort of the money sort of left over beyond that. So if you tax me more, the pool of money that's more likely to shrink is my savings, not my consumption. Because I can always consume more, I'll just save less. And the problem is, it's from savings which investment comes from. Okay, again, that business loan, that stock purchase, that donation to a charity, all those are investments. And all those can only occur if people choose not to consume with their money. I cannot donate to a charity money that I've already used. I cannot invest in a business money that I've already used. So if you shrink the amount of money that people have available to save, you shrink investment. That's what they're getting at. And the idea is that more investments mean more potential businesses. It's not that all businesses succeed or all businesses are good ideas. But the more businesses that start up, the more likely that a good idea is found in there. And oftentimes, one good idea grows the economy to make up for 99 bad ideas. Is that by cutting taxes, more capital will be available. Although, that's only half the argument. Okay, this is where the deregulation argument comes into play. Because that capital existing, the fact that there's people out there saving doesn't necessarily mean magically the economy grows. There has to be entrepreneurs that put that money to use. So the idea behind the whole deregulatory argument is mainly lowering the red tape that makes it difficult to run a business, to start a business, the barriers to entry to making those investments work. Because you could have all the capital formation in the world, but if entrepreneurs are discouraged because starting a business is too difficult, there's too much paperwork, there's too much legal costs, too much tax costs. And again, it's not about, when I say tax costs and legal costs, I don't necessarily mean the cost of the amount of taxes you have to pay, but the cost in preparing those taxes. Have you gone to the H&R Block recently to prepare your taxes? I mean, it's not free. You're basically paying someone so you can pay someone else. That's like me having to hire someone to figure out what my bill is when I go to a restaurant. It doesn't make sense. And it discourages people from having more complicated financial lives because they're scared of the extra paperwork and the extra cost, the more complex their life becomes financially. And that it can discourage investment on the margins, meaning people who are on the fence may decide not to start a business. And that's an idea where people who do want to start a business may no longer be able to afford to because the extra costs in legal costs because of the regulations and having to comply with the regulations, and just have to hire lawyers just to make sure that you're following the regulations. Again, it's not whether you break the rule, but it's just you understanding the rule, because some of these rules are so complicated. You have to hire lawyers just to make sure that you understood the rule correctly, and that costs money. So all these costs and complexities can discourage people because of the cost, or just because of the complexity will just discourage people. So that's why it's deregulate and lower taxes, because you want to not discourage entrepreneurs, so that way you have the entrepreneurs to put the capital to work. And the idea is that those new businesses that succeed can sometimes create whole new industries that put people to work and grow an economy. That's essentially the crux of the argument. That's generally the crux of the free market environment in general. Now, the supply siders specifically focused on the top tax rate. So me personally, any taxes being lowered at any time can have this effect of helping capital formation. But the supply siders focus on the top marginal rate, the top rate, because the idea was that's where you're going to get the biggest bang to capital formation, because who's the most likely to save would be sort of people who have more, because, I mean, how much are you really going to spend? So they're the ones who are going to necessarily save more capital to be invested. So the top marginal rate is going to have the largest effect on capital formation, so they focus on that top tax rate. Now, in my opinion, well, that may be true. From a political standpoint, I do understand how a lot of people may not necessarily be a fan of a tax cut that doesn't necessarily directly affect them. So just saying, hey, we're going to go cut the top tax rate, from a political standpoint, is bad politics. So to me, I think politically you can get more done in the terms of lowering taxes by focusing on the bottom rates, because those affect everybody. And you can affect the bottom rate by either lowering the bottom rate, raising the income at which the bottom rate kicks in, or increasing the standard deduction. And when you focus on that cut, you can actually, and again, the truly cut taxes, you need to cut spending. If you cut taxes and you don't cut spending, you're just taxing tomorrow, because you eventually have to tax to pay the deficit that's caused. But you can cut spending. I think you can find the political will to cut spending if you say, hey, for every dollar of taxes we cut, we're going to cut that bottom rate. We're going to raise the income where it kicks in, we're going to cut the rate, or increase the standard deduction, because that benefits everybody. Everybody sees a reduced cost when you do that. And again, you may not necessarily get as much capital formation out of it, but you'll be able to, but you're still freeing up resources in the economy, because it's not just investment that matters. It also doesn't hurt to have people consuming. But at the end of the day, you want people to just decide how to spend their money. At the end of the day, regardless of all this economics, people have a right to choose how they spend their money. Now, yes, people can argue that there are things that they may feel government is necessary to do. But the amount of spending we have currently is way beyond what is necessary. And the amount of taxation that's occurring right now is way beyond what is necessary to even do what government currently does. And to me, if you're taking more than is necessary, you are stealing from people. And if the government is doing more than is necessary, we are overburdening society. So government should do what is necessary and tax what is necessary to do those necessary functions. But anything beyond that, you're taking away people's rights to make decisions about how their property is used. And again, we may all have different views on what is necessary. And my view is probably a lot smaller than yours. But the bottom line is, that's part of the discussion. What is necessary? Because then we can decide what is a necessary level of spending, and we can discuss, hey, can we lower taxes and improve the economy a little bit? My name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com. Have a great day and enjoy.